Well, hello out there. I'm author T.M. Brown, and welcome to the next reading from my very first book, A Life Not My Own. My intent is to share more with you than you'd experience if you read my story on your own. And you may decide that you want to read along with me. And if that's the case, you can pick up one of my books at my website, www.authortmbrown.com. As I mentioned, I'm reading from my very first book, A Life Not My Own. And we started with the very first page, and we're working our way through the book. We are currently on page 90. This is a new chapter called Him Again. Are you ready? After the funeral, relatives and friends of the family stopped by Ma's house to pay their respects. He was there too. How could it be? So much had happened. We had gone our separate ways, built lives without each other, and still it was there. I wasn't sure if it was still love, but we still felt a deep concern for one another. Out of all of the people who visited Ma's house, I knew that he was there only for me. It didn't matter that people whispered about us behind our backs. It didn't matter that after I returned to Kentucky, he would have to explain all of this to his girlfriend, whoever she was. And it didn't matter that we had lost one another. I needed him, and he was there. Simple as that. When I felt myself about to fall apart, he'd comfort me. After all that we had been through, none of it seemed to matter. He knew about the times in my past when death had touched my life. He knew my thoughts and my pain, and he gave me strength. I'll be leaving for Germany in 4 months, I said as we stood in front of Ma's house. There were too many people in the house. I felt as if I couldn't breathe. I know, he smiled. Don't think that I'm not watching what you're doing. There's no way that I'm going to let you get away from me and allow anything to happen to you, Tina. I will always be here for you. I know that we can't go back to what we had, but we did have a life together, remember? He said as tears ran down my face. I had no idea that when I left, things would turn out like this. And now Mac's gone. I took a deep breath and looked at him. Tina, what has happened is not your fault. None of it. I knew that we were talking about more than Mac. Do you remember when we talked about death and what it means? He said as he held me in his arms. Do you still believe that there is a place that we go to after this? He asked. Yes, I do. Then understand that the tears that you cry now are for you. You cry because you'll miss him, and that's okay. Thank you, I said. We stood there in front of Ma's house holding each other. Why had God chosen to take Mac now? He had finally landed a good job and was living with his girlfriend. But the drugs were obviously still controlling his life. Why did we even bother calling it a drug addiction? It would have been more realistic to call it a death addiction. This shit was taking over the world, and still is, readers. It was touching everyone that I loved. How many people would need to die before it would stop? I just wanted it to stop. When we joined the others inside Ma's house, he was never too far from my side. I caught a plane returning to Fort Campbell the following day. My co-workers were very understanding when I returned. It was difficult to tell them that I had lost my brother to drugs. Mac's death was hard to discuss with even my closest friends. You know, in Baltimore, in the neighborhood where I lived, death from drugs was part of the world that we lived in. But in the world that I was in now, the world that I was a part of now, it was not. I spent my first month back on post just trying to come to terms with everything that had occurred over the last few weeks. When I got back to Fort Campbell, readers, I couldn't sleep. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw Mac in his coffin in the darkness. I felt helpless. I had done everything that I could do to ensure that he was laid to rest properly, but within my heart, I wasn't sure that he was resting in peace. Please, God, take pity on his soul. I pray that you will take him with you until we can be together again. The old feelings of responsibility were weighing heavy on my shoulders. I had to believe that he would be all right now. As the days passed, I began to feel that he was all right. I could feel his presence around me. Actually, I felt his presence in me. It was like he saw what I saw somehow, and I felt comfort in that. His life had gone in a totally different direction than my own a long time ago. But now it seemed that we were close again, similar to the way we were when we were kids. I was laying in bed one night thinking about this closeness that I felt with my brother when the telephone rang. "Hey, how are you?" It was him. I had given him my number. Why was he calling me? "I got your number from Ma. Don't be mad at her. She didn't want to give it to me at first, but I convinced her that it was okay." "Is it okay?" "It is okay, isn't it?" he asked. I couldn't believe that it was him. It was the first time that he had ever called me since I left Baltimore. "Is everything okay?" I said, praying that no one else had died. "Yes, everything is okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, especially after... Well, I just wanted to talk to you to make sure that you were okay." It had to be more than that, I thought. He had never called me before. "I'm doing better," I said. "I'm happy to hear your voice. But really, why are you calling me?" I asked. There was a pause on the other end of the phone. "I've been thinking about you ever since you left," he said. "I know that we've been apart for a while now, but being with you while you were home made me realize how much I really miss you. I know that you're going to Germany in a few months, and I was hoping that you would come home before you left. Are you coming home, Tina? I really want to see you." What? I was thinking. Where was all this coming from? It seemed like every time I thought it was over, he'd show up again. No, not this time. "Of course, I'm coming. I'm planning to come home before I go to Germany. I'm not sure how things are over there, and I wanted to say goodbye to everyone before I go overseas." "Does everyone include me?" he asked. "I thought that we said our goodbyes a long time ago." "Maybe so, but I still want to see you, Tina," he said. "What about your girl? What is she going to think about you seeing me?" I really didn't give a damn about some other woman. I was just looking for a way out. Something. Anything. "You know you don't care one way or the other about that. I can meet you at the airport, okay?" "Wait a minute. I never said I've got everything planned for us," he said. You'll have a great time before you go to Germany. Well, think about it and I'll call you back, he said as he abruptly hung up the telephone. I sat there in the dark, still holding on to my end of the line. What the hell was that all about? I couldn't think about that right now. I had to get up early in the morning. Girl, what did you do to that man when you were home? My friend Sandy said, laughing the next day. There is so much happening in my life right now that I don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm trying to clear out of the base, clean my apartment, make plans with my friends and family back in Baltimore, and now it's him again. I really don't know what I'm doing. Well, based on everything you've told me in the past about him, I think that you should do what you really want to do. Have a good time and not worry so much about what will happen later, my friend Sandy said. That's easy for you to say. You weren't in love with him. Let me remind you of something that I know you already are aware of, sweetheart. Life is way too short. You need to live your life and stop worrying so much about tomorrow, my friend said. And you know, readers, I have heard this throughout my life. Always worrying about tomorrow and not really living for today. At this juncture in my life, readers, I'm really trying to embrace this concept of living for today because life is short. So, I was packing my suitcase when the telephone rang. It was him again. Hey, have you given any more thought to what we talked about? I've thought about it a lot, to be honest. Will you see me when you come home, Tina? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Good. When does your flight arrive? Around 3:30. Okay, I'll meet you at the airport then. Tina, I'm really looking forward to seeing you. It's been a long time. Yes, it has, I said. Are you okay? He asked. Yeah. Are you sure you're okay? He said teasingly. I'm fine. Then I'll see you at the airport next week. My flight landed in Baltimore at 3:18 p.m. He was waiting for me with flowers. It was a warm summer day. He was dressed as he had when we were together, and the times were good. He wore a multicolored short-sleeved silk shirt, white linen shorts, sandals, and a nice Panama straw hat. He spotted me and was walking in my direction. Hey, baby, how was your flight? He asked, taking my carry-on bag and giving me the flowers. The trip was fine, and thank you for the flowers. They're very pretty. We retrieved my luggage and went directly to Ma's house. Everyone was so happy to see me. No one seemed surprised that I was with him. We were all sitting around the kitchen table talking when he whispered to me, I have a surprise for you. You've already surprised me enough. What now? I said. Do you think that we could leave now? I said my goodbyes to everyone and was back in the car with him on our way downtown. Baltimore had changed a lot over the short time that I had been away. There were more highways now. He parked in front of the Lord Baltimore Hotel. I have reservations for us